Hello.
Howdy.
How are you? Whoa.
What?
I just sort my mic out.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm alright. I'm excited. It's almost June. June is usually
Yeah.
a good month for games.
For games or oh yeah.
Well, I guess in general, just because of the fact that it's like summer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, from June
The
21st onward.
the showcases are sort of creeping up, aren't they? They always do.
Yeah, I've actually got them listed. If you want me to just mention those really quick.
Yeah, please.
Hang on. These are the ones that I know about. So June 2nd is State of Play, PlayStation. June 9th is Summer Games Fest and Day of the Devs. June 10th is both the Netflix Geek Week games and the Tribeca Games Showcase. And then June 12th is the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase. So all within like a week and a half, there's like 5 different showcases basically.
Cool.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
On those showcases, Jay, you know the State of Play one? Do you think that will be a pretty big E3 like Sony
Well,
showcase?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like now most of the I feel like everyone sort of holds their own sort of like announcements now, don't they, on their own special days?
Mm,
Like a lot of people don't save it for a special event. They just sort of like, well, they don't save it for like one giant one. They save it for like their own special events along the year.
yeah.
So I
Like
don't know.
Sony you keep having like State of Play specifically for like a AAA game launch, don't they? Like Hogwarts Legacy or their exclusive games. Like they'll have a big Ghost of Tsushima reveal or a big Horizon reveal and stuff like that.
I feel like you're getting more of like almost like shadow drops of like announcements now.
Yeah,
Like in the middle of
totally.
the day on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, it's kind of like, yo, AAA game coming out next year, and it's like, whoa, that came out of the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was a bit uncalled for. Just seems to be happening now. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay, for your patience today. Just so everyone knows, I'm kind of not hungover, but I am really, really tired, so I had a
What's that
nap.
word you used to use? Reeling? No.
Reeling?
What's the word you use for hangover? Hanging?
Hanging?
Yeah,
Yeah?
hanging. Is that the right word?
Yeah?
I just found a screw on my bed. I don't know where it
What
came
colour?
from. It's just black. Did it come out of my laptop? I don't know. That's odd.
I mean, it did come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be my. I don't know. That's odd. But yeah, continue.
Oh dear. So I think what I'm trying to say is obviously Jay will be the main interest for today because
I guess
I know he's got a lot of interesting things to talk about, though
up for debate.
controversial. I would say very
Oh, really?
controversial. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, we will. Well, let's just dive straight into it, Jay.
Yeah,
Let's do our introduction.
sure.
The Pentaveret.
The pen tablet.
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
That's just
Yeah,
gonna be
you're just
stuck in
gonna
your
get
head
that
now.
one.
You must have seen that
Yeah.
film, right?
No.
Oh, dude, you're missing out. Great movie.
Did it hold
Whoa,
up well?
man. Whoa, man. It's like one of those movies where had me and you watched it in high school at the same time,
Okay.
we'd be quoting it to this day. It's such a
Did you
quotable
watch it when you
film.
were younger?
Yeah, probably like 13, 14 maybe even younger than that, I don't know.
Nice.
Good movie.
Nice.
It's a classic
Nice.
though. It's an absolute classic.
What are your thoughts on the Love Guru?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. I haven't watched it in a
Yeah.
while. God, the last time I watched that was probably, I don't know, it's like 14, 15. That
I
was a
feel
long
like
time
that was
ago.
his last big film, right? I think.
Oh God, I
No.
think so. Hard to say because yeah, he took like a bit of a break, right?
Right.
I can't even remember.
There was a lot of chatter about about Austin Powers 4. But
Yeah,
I mean, if that came to cinema, I would be there day one. Day
I don't
one.
know if it'd be any good. Honestly, that's the thing, isn't it?
It's a good question. Good question. Jay, do you like Top Gun?
You know what? I haven't seen the whole movie from start to finish. I don't really plan on seeing the new one. Mum's a big fan,
Okay.
so yeah. I mean, I guess you've seen it, have you?
Yeah, me and India watched the first one during lockdown, and then it came to the cinema because they were playing old films, and yes, we saw it at home. Loved it, Jay. Absolutely loved it. Surprisingly loved it.
What, the
Like
first one?
we got an hour. We got the first original
Oh,
one, like
yeah. Okay.
'86.
I mean, it is
We got
good.
like an hour.
It's a classic for a
Yeah.
reason, you know.
Well, you just never know, right? Especially with some of the old action films, like people like Predator. What a shit film! Oh my god. But
Say again. What's bad?
Predator.
What is in the original Predator?
Yeah.
That's good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and Predator 2.
Jay, I gotta tell you, by the way, if you don't know that arm scene's coming up, I swear to God, they stick on it for like 5 seconds, and I was looking around the room like, what the fuck is going on right now? But no, it's not. It's not very good, mate. It's not very good.
Well, I mean,
Don't get me wrong. I love Aliens.
it's not
and I
like Alien, but it's, you know, Alien is a classic. Predator is still a classic, but just for different reasons. It's like a
get it.
worse version. It's like a so bad it's good type movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it
think
is
it's just
bad, but it's good for that reason.
Fair enough. Look, fair enough.
Yeah,
enough.
you were right
So
about the Austin
anyway,
Powers 4 thing, by the way.
what, like lots of rumors or?
No, Mike himself basically sort of like implied that it might be happening. So yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we loved the first one, and then the new one was coming out finally. Obviously, got delayed a lot.
Yeah, like a year and a half.
So yeah, we booked, yeah, literally, and we booked tickets to the local IMAX day one, because I said to India, like, I'd rather just watch it with people that I assume want to watch it because they're there day one.
That's true. Yeah.
And it worked out, to be fair. Everybody there really wanted to watch it. It was quite quiet considering the cinema was full, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Good.
Like, best sequel to an 80s film I think I've ever seen.
I think that's the consensus I've heard, is that like it's one of the first sequels that have actually been done properly, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Very hard to do
So
that
anyway.
nowadays.
Anyway, have you watched anything exciting recently?
I watched
The Pentablet.
The Pentablet. Not really. I mean, I've just sort of been catching up on Netflix stuff. I watched like just some comedy stuff, you know, like stand-up
Cool.
specials. Nothing too interesting.
Cool. All right.
Getting around to some stuff though.
Yeah.
Just waiting for stuff to come out now.
Yes, we are.
It's all so close.
Yes, we are. Well, Jay, for those who don't know, this is the TGO show.
Yeah.
Where Jay over there, Goldilocks Gamer, and Nick over here, the Night Owl,
Yeah.
get together and discuss video games.
And movies,
and
apparently.
News, and movies. And everything nerdy. No.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, talk about video games mainly.
Yeah.
And we have a good time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Old games mainly, new games, a little bit of new games, a little bit of old games, some news, and we have a good time. We have a good time. So without further ado, adieu is bye, isn't it? Like adieu, I bid you adieu.
Oh, bye,
Or
as
is
in
that adieu?
BYE. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. We're off to a good start.
Great start.
Speaking of which, Jay, what is the name of the all-female elite special forces army of Wakanda? The Divine Justice Queens, the Wakanda Warriors, Dora Milaje, I think that's how you say it, and the Vibranium.
It's the third one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Did I butcher
I
that?
knew. Well, I don't know how to say it either. I just know that it's like an African-sounding name. I think.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't like an English
The
thing.
Jerrys.
Yeah, exactly. The bald ladies.
Very good. Very good. All right, Joe. Well, let's just jump straight on in. Can you please take us to the first topic, which I believe is old goody Mobile games, yay!
Cheese, Gromit, cheese. Yeah. No, I've been very busy. Playing a lot. I've actually. It's kind of annoying. I'm a little bit burdened at this point. So I'm playing two particular mobile games that I've been playing. One of them I've been playing for almost a year consecutively, like 347 days in a row, I want to say. And then one that came out beginning of May that I've been waiting to play for a very long time, which I've spoken about already. But there's been like loads of games, sort of like in waiting. Sort of people are like, oh, when's it going to come out? Come out sometime in May, sometime in June, sometime in July. We don't really know. But there's been two games that have come out in the last week where I've been like it's almost like a shadow drop when nobody knew it was coming until like the day before it was coming out. So now I'm also playing the Ni no Kuni mobile game.
Right, the new one.
Yeah, Cross Worlds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
basically an MMO, but for Ni no Kuni.
Right. I
It's
think
not
Nic and J's got a
bad.
few spin-off games. Oh, it's bad.
No, I say it's not bad,
Oh, okay.
but my frame of mind, like I was excited to play it the first day, but then I quickly realised it was going to be like an every other MMO, and it would just take it takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
like you put a lot of effort. So I'm sort of that one I might be a bit more dabbling in.
So if it's free, Jade, like,
It is
and
free.
it's an MMO, how, does it have those mechanics of like you'll have to come back tomorrow sort of thing?
Well, I mean, there's like every other MMO. There's dailies and things you have to do daily.
No, sure, but like for instance, like your Final Fantasy 14s and whatnot, I would say you can play them all the time as an MMO. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Yeah, there's definitely this. I'd say this one's a lot more like the Marvel Future Revolution game that came out recently. I will say
Okay.
it came out in August last year, where like you sort of have like a power level, and you have to either be a certain power level or a certain like main level to get to the next part of the story. Which is again like in Final Fantasy 14 as well. You have to do that in that as well. But there's obviously like side missions you can do to then get up to that level and progress more in the story. So it's it's much the same as that. Um, so yeah, that's been good. Funnily enough, so there's 5 classes to choose from. I think there's like a swordsman, like a tank style character, I think called Berserker. There's the witch, which is kind of like a magey type thing. There's the engineer, which is like a gunner style thing, and then there's the rogue, which is sort of like a mixture between like I think it's like more like a bow and arrow type thing. And I thought the witch looked the most interesting. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll pick that one. And then when I researched what class was like the best class and the worst class, what happened to be the worst class? The witch, of course. So I'm technically playing like the worst class, but I don't necessarily find that to be entirely true. I think most people were saying it was the worst class just because it's like the least free to play friendly. Like for that class to be the best possible version of itself, you have to put the most amount of time and effort in. If that makes sense. Like there's certain things you can unlock on other characters that you can't on this one unless you put in like more time than you need to, really. So
What, as in like more time than your other
there's a
characters
lot
than
more
if you were playing
RNG
your other character?
involved, like a lot more random stuff where like there's a certain skills that you can't get unless you get them from like a very random source. Whereas most of the other characters you don't need the random source to get those skills.
Right.
So it's more of like a random thing. You either get it or you don't, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. That again, that's much like Future Revolution, where I think I'll probably stop playing it at some point, just because it's very time consuming, and I've already got so much I've got to do time wise with other mobile games. But it is very pretty and it runs very very well on phone, so I'm happy about that. The other game that I'm playing is just another gacha, just a random gacha that again I've been waiting for like months. Most of these, weirdly, the Ni no Kuni game and this other one I'm playing have both I think been in Korea for like the last 7-ish months, like almost in like a sort of beta, I guess. And then they've finally come to the West, so they're sort of like starting all over again.
Okay.
I got really lucky on this other gacha game. I managed to get some of the best characters in the game in quotes, like right away. So that's probably the only reason why I'm still playing it, because I actually managed to do pretty well. But the main thing that's
Mm.
coming up is Diablo Immortal comes out on the 2nd of June.
Right. Next week then?
Yeah, so next Thursday. I've been looking forward to that for a while. But my issue now is I've now got 5 mobile games that I'm playing. So I'm going to have to drop like either 1 or 2 of them at some point.
Right.
And
But the Diablo Immortal is a bit more of like an actual game that you're playing, right?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like a free to play, like I've got to wait to do dailies and stuff. It's
Well, I
more
don't
like
know.
there's a whole game here.
I don't really know what the game is exactly. I think it is just like Diablo 3, but on phone.
Right.
You know? So I have to wait and see on that. I think there is microtransactions from what I've seen. I've been looking at like all the social media and stuff. I haven't actually looked at any FAQs. I'm gonna have to check that out. But
you've paid you have to pay for it, right?
No, it's free to play game.
Oh.
So I imagine there'll be microtransactions. There'll be something like you can probably buy mounts and armor that looks cool and stuff like that. I don't know.
To be fair, I might, because I've got my Backbone 1. After what you play and let me know what you think, I might give it a go. To be fair, if it's free.
Yeah, and if we can play together, that'd be cool too.
Sure. So you use touch controls on all these games, don't you?
Yeah, I just use the screen.
Oh, mental, mate, mental.
I don't see why that's an issue.
No, it's not an issue. I would struggle. That's all.
It's probably because you haven't been playing mobile games for like years, like I have.
It's true.
I feel like you get dexterous with it.
Is your dad pretty sort of like good with the screen stuff?
I mean, yeah, we both recommend games to each other, and we're always, I mean, he's been playing the Ni no Kuni thing as well, so we're both the same in that sort of area. But because I've been playing so much mobile, I haven't touched console in like a week and a half, 2 weeks at this point.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's just I'm just doing whatever I'm in the mood for at the time. So as soon as I get
says on
bored
the doc, Jay, you have you been playing Tales still?
Yeah. So last weekend, I finally finished Tales of Arise, or at least
my god,
I finished the campaign. I finished the campaign. There's definitely a lot more I can do, much like a lot of RPGs nowadays, where like the end game is just sort of like, or the end of the campaign is just the beginning a lot of the time. But yeah, I could definitely do a lot more. It would just take me way too long for me to like. I've basically hit the wall, the proverbial wall of like, I don't need to do any more. There's plenty more I can do. I just don't need to fulfill anything. I feel like I've done what I needed to do. I've seen the end of the story. That's all I needed at this point. 50 odd hours later or whatever. That's all I really needed.
Nice. So was it a good game, Jay? Like
great story actually. Surprising. Like it's weird when I first saw the trailer for the game, I thought it was going to be, in my head it was a much better game than it is on screen.
Okay.
And like actually playing the game, but it's good. It definitely is good enough for the amount I paid for it, because I obviously bought it on sale. I definitely wouldn't have wanted to pay full price for that. Definitely wouldn't have seemed worth it to me.
Yeah.
Definitely a very bare bones game in terms of like UI and how the game finally plays out. But I feel like that's sort of become a bit of a trend recently, is that games seem to be getting simpler in some areas to sort of like maybe shorten development time. I'm not even really sure, because they might. What will happen with like a lot of games is there's almost like a balancing act, right? Of like the amount of time the game takes development, and then also the quality of the game. And for some reason, there seems to be almost like another balance where you can have one aspect of the game be like extremely development intensive, and another aspect of the game has to then suffer for that imbalance. It's very rare that you have a game that has an amazing level of development and care taken into one part of it, and then also nothing that suffers for it. Like there has to be a mechanic or something that suffers because of the greatness of this one aspect of the game. And the thing that suffered was, like, I'd say the AI, or not the AI, the UI. The way the game sort of like looks, like the HUD and everything, is just very basic and very not aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
Not as like fantastical or cool looking as what other games in the past have made some UI. So and I feel like that's similar to the issue I had with Tiny Tina. Actually, I felt it took me a while to get used to the UI. It just seemed very like basic and not cool to me. But
I think the UI in Tiny Tina, I know what you're saying. Obviously, it is very similar to Borderlands, but I know what you're saying. I think even the title screen, even as someone who doesn't really pay attention to UI, I sort of looked at it like you've just got like a faded black box around the logo.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
very like,
weird.
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like there has to be like there has to be something that suffers because of something great in the game. And I'm not a
Right.
fan of that, but I think that's what you have to do to be able to cut development time. I don't know. I don't really, or even it
I
might even
know
be
what
a
you're
money thing.
saying.
You know, it could be like a
I don't.
skimping budgeting type thing.
I
I don't
wondered
know.
whether it's like a developer thing, right? Like, without trying to be
Mm.
hating on people's talents and skills, basically, some people who are animating at a studio
Oh, I
might
know what you're
might
gonna
be
say.
much better animators than whoever does the UI. You know what I
I
mean?
read
If
about
that
this
makes sense.
recently. There's a lot of young developers coming into making games nowadays that are being forced into doing things they're not actually proficient in.
Right. Okay.
And that is part of the reason why there might be certain things that aren't as good versus 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, you know?
Sure.
Because a lot of the
Sure.
people who are really proficient at these types of things have now left for whatever reason, and they're being replaced by young people who have only, um, who are only animators, and now they're being forced to create UI or forced to do, I don't know, something else. It's just kind of like, but I'm seeing that a lot. Like on Twitter, there's a lot of like game developers that are complaining about that, and then they being having to go at from their bosses. It's like, well, you're forcing me to do something I'm not actually proficient in. I don't understand. Like so I don't know. There's like a weird culture in development at the minute that is, yeah, we're starting to see the pitfalls of, unfortunately. But hopefully those people
Mm,
do learn something from it. I don't know.
mm.
Have to wait and see.
In terms of tails, by the way, what we're
Yeah.
looking at trophies wise, how are you doing?
Oh, maybe I'm like 58% of the way done,
Okay.
and that's just by
So there's a lot
playing
to
it.
there's a lot you could do, sort of
I'd
thing.
say for me to want to get a platinum, I could probably put minimum 20 hours in. I could probably get close. I'd say I'd probably have to more than likely have to put closer to 30, 40 though. And I don't really feel like doing that with a game that
Yeah,
I feel
fair
like I'm
enough.
already done with. I mean, yeah, I'm done with it. I don't think I'm gonna come back
Well,
to it.
so you obviously grinded and stuff. Is it
Yeah, not for
just like
long, thankfully though.
no, no? Like, is it just a really is the game almost bigger than? Well, clearly the game's a bit more bigger than your interest in it, I suppose, if you know what I mean. Like, so, like for instance,
Yeah,
7 Remake is like the perfect length, you
yeah,
know.
that has a great
But
balance in terms of like trying to keep your attention and the amount of time it takes,
right,
and versus things you can do in the game and after the game. Like there isn't
right,
really much you can do after the game necessarily. There's only
unless you do
really
hard mode,
there's only really
yeah,
that sort of like
and the arena and
the
stuff,
trials arena thing, yeah. Versus
yeah,
this game which has like a bunch more stuff.
right, okay.
There's a lot of like collecting and like secret bosses, secret endings, and all this type of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of it. So I don't really want to do any of that. I'm good.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you did
BFBB.
all that, is it like 100 hour, 125 hour
Yeah, it's
JRPG
probably
or
close. Yeah, which is probably a good thing because most RPGs should be around that time. I just
sure?
felt like I don't know. I find it hard to imagine that I could ever put 100 hours into a game anymore, even though I know I've done it like 5 times over the last year and a half, 2 years.
Mm,
But I feel like I
mm.
had a lot more
I,
time when I wasn't working.
I
That's
think
probably
it's one of
why.
those where you obviously like, well, as you know, that would just give me anxiety. But it's probably one of those where you just enjoy it that much, you just end up putting in 100 hours, I suppose. You know.
Yeah, I must be like it's kind of unexplainable a lot of the time, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, like
So
I
it
guess the
definitely sounds
Assassin's
though
Creed was the
like
biggest thing for that.
right, right. It definitely sounds like you put it. Well, you got your money's worth though, if not and
Yeah,
then some.
I'd have to put in I think another maybe 10 to 15 hours for me to potentially get my exact amount of money's worth. But yeah, close enough. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, or like maybe like a 7.5. In terms of amount of money versus time spent. But yeah, I'm glad I got it on sale and not at the full price because that would have been a rip off, definitely. But yeah, I had
Very
fun with
good.
that, and then weirdly I've been kind of in the mood for like a Fallout game, like a Fallout New Vegas. But I know as soon as I started playing, as soon as I would start playing it, I'd just be out of the mood of it. It's like one of those things where I know the moment I boot it up, I'm like, right, I'm out of the mood.
What about like not saying that you should, but maybe that's your mind telling you like maybe you want to watch some YouTube videos on it or some YouTubers or something. If you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
weirdly, there is actually some videos in my watch later list of someone doing like a playthrough of New Vegas. So I just need to watch that. That might have even been that, honestly,
Nice,
more
nice.
than likely. I don't really know what my plan is next. I think it is just to see what happens once this Diablo Immortal game comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't really have anything planned other than Gotham Knights and Pokemon. And is Hogwarts Legacy coming out this year?
I mean, apparently,
So I think those three games are the only things I can really think of that I'm like somewhat massively looking forward to this year to play. But I mean, we might get a bunch of announcements. I feel like every announcement we're now going to get is probably for games that aren't coming out until earliest 2023. So I don't
I
think,
think that, or we are going to get some announcements which are
like sooner
close
rather
to
than later.
home.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
There is a very,
I
very
hope.
small chance that Final Fantasy 16 comes out this year. There,
Ah, no
it's
way,
no,
no way.
trust me, it's very small, but it is a possibility. It's about
Understood.
as much about what I spoke on the last podcast about how Sony and Square Enix like to fulfill their profit margins in a certain time frame of the year to be able to bring it up to April. As long as it'll come up before April 1st next year, hopefully.
I mean, that'd be mental if it does, but
But I think
definitely
people are
sounds like
speculating because the Forspoken release date finally got their age thing. What basically once you know that
the rating.
once
Yeah,
the game's
yeah,
had a
yeah, yeah.
rating, you know it's coming out soon, basically. And I think
Right. Okay.
Forspoken just got its rating, so it's coming out. It
Well,
should
they
still come
delayed it
out on the
to.
time.
I was gonna say, didn't they delay that till October this year anyway?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think that's probably
Something
why.
like that.
But there's a lot of people speculating that Forspoken and Square and Final Fantasy could come out at a fairly close time together. But I don't think so.
It's funny. It definitely seems like with 16 seemingly going well in terms of development, and obviously apparently 7 Remake Part 2 going well in terms of development, and we got the reveal of Kingdom Hearts 4. It definitely seems like Square Enix have sorted their development schedule out, definitely, in the sense of, the times of having a 10-year development cycle for Final Fantasy 15 hopefully have gone, and Kingdom Hearts 3 have gone, so that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should
Yeah.
hear a lot
Yeah.
of stuff from Square Enix because it's the 25th. Was it 25th or 35th? It's the anniversary of Final Fantasy
Yeah. Yeah.
next month, so we should hear quite a lot. Again, June is going to be stacked. It's going to be a lot of
Nice.
news, a lot of game news.
I'm hoping that people have not made announcements because they know development's so crazy at the moment. But yeah, I'm hoping that we are going to get a few games where they're like, okay, it's coming out in the next 5-6 months. That's it's needed. But then again, soon it gets stacked, doesn't it? So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes,
Yeah, just as a quick top up, Jay, to your topic, if that's all right.
please.
I'm not ready to talk about Rage 2 in its entirety just yet, because I've still got some bits to do on it.
Sure.
But
I need to go back and try that out because it was a terrible game when I played it. So hopefully it'll.
Right.
My mind might have changed since then. I don't know.
I did try out SpongeBob Rehydrated, which I think I spoke to you about.
You did. Yeah.
Free game for PS Plus like last month or something, and Elle was like, "Oh yeah, it's quite good." So I thought, "All right, 3D platformer, I'll check it out." I like SpongeBob.
Is that the one that got sped run when it came out?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think someone managed to get it down to like a few minutes.
Oh, nice. So yeah, it's basically a remaster of a classic PS2 game, like definitely the most popular SpongeBob game.
I think I played the original one. That was quite fun.
You probably did,
Yeah, more than likely.
And tried it. It was cool. It was fine. I gave it up after about an hour and a half because the backtracking it was going to make me do is mental, and it just wasn't quite clicking with me, unfortunately. But
no.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I feel like that's one of those games where you have to be a very avid SpongeBob fan to even want to play that type of thing.
Well, I thought because I like 3D platformers, I might, edge in a little bit, but
I don't know.
And I don't mind SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a huge fan, but
no.
Those
types of games always just like have a very similar, like progression, I guess.
Yeah.
So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into at that point.
For sure. Right, Jay, let's move on to the news. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Well,
I would say the news is sort of getting us through what is otherwise a fairly quiet time for me and Jay, I would say.
yeah.
First up, Jay, we've got big, important What? We've got big, important news. First trailer for Star Wars Jedi Survivor premiered at Star Wars Celebration.
The name confuses me because obviously.
Okay, so let me break. So the franchise is called Star Wars Jedi.
That's okay. That's what I had a feeling would happen. Is that they're now going to make games
Jedi
that is
Fallen
like a sub thingy. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
That makes sense.
So the sequel to Respawn's, I think it's 2019 game, said it's due for 2023. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
So yeah, it's weird because the game is coming out 4 years after the first game, but this game is set 5 years after the first game.
Right.
If you didn't know that already.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks great. Super excited. Jay, I think we both really liked the first game, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, we both platinumed it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you play it on? It's not on Xbox, is it?
Yeah, I played it on Xbox.
Oh, I think I played it on PlayStation. So yeah, you.
By the way, that
100%
Xbox version is way more broke.
I was going to say, I remember you having a lot of issues with it. I didn't have any issues with the PlayStation one.
Yeah, and I played it. I even tried it out on my Series X, and it still broke. So it wasn't like a console thing. Yeah.
Just a version, a port issue.
So Jay, my question to you for this is, okay, well, do you know what's a bit ironic about this, Jay? Obviously, we've just had lots of conversations about release dates, and in my opinion, you shouldn't have said the release date because it ain't coming out next year, in my humble opinion. Secondly,
I think it'll come out November or September next year.
Oh, to be fair, November's probably a fair shout.
Because I'm pretty sure this came out September 2019 was the first one, right?
I thought it was November, but I can't remember.
One of the two. Yeah, it was one of the two.
Second one, what do you think of the trailer, and who the hell is that person in the back to tank thing?
You could probably Google it and find out instantly, which is annoying. I'm sure we'll find out at some point.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. It's not like you know.
No, it's just I feel like it's one of those things where if you're like a daily Star Wars consumer, where like Star Wars is your whole life, you probably know everything about this game before it even comes out. I don't know if this is pulling from other source material or other parts of canon from Star Wars, because technically this game and the previous game are canon, or it could just be like a whole new story that's just for this game. We don't entirely know. I'm hoping it's that. I'm a fan of Star Wars material that's completely new.
Yeah,
and that doesn't really take from like the Skywalker saga in quotes. I'd much rather it just be its own thing that happens alongside the other Star Wars stuff. So I'm hoping that's the case. We don't really know too much about it. But again, this is kind of like, this isn't necessarily one of those things that was out of the blue, because they did have the Star Wars Celebration yesterday, I think, or the day before, 26th, 27th, because they were doing promotional stuff for Kenobi.
Shows and that. Yeah.
And I think Mandalorian 3 is coming out next year, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, this was weirdly out of the blue for me, because I didn't realize what else was happening. And then when I googled it, I was like, oh, the Star Wars Celebration's happening. That makes sense now.
Right.
I think they also showed a trailer for what's the bloody game called? KOTOR.
Did they?
Yeah, KOTOR 2 is coming to Switch, I think.
Oh, great.
What they talked about, something like that. Yeah, so.
Okay, fair.
Just a bunch of Star Wars news. That's all it really is. But yeah, I'm happy that we finally know that it's definitely happening, because for a long time me and you were speculating, well, is it going to happen? But I imagine this has probably been in development since the first game. Must have been, right?
100%.
So they've had at least 3 years, maybe 2.5.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be 4, so I'm hoping 4 years will be time enough to make a solid sequel.
The best possible news about this game is that it's next gen only. And PC.
Yes!
What did I say last week? We're going to start seeing the trend now where I think I've seen 3 or 4 articles now that have been, this game is next gen only. This game is coming out next gen only. I'm like, oh, thank God. There was even one
Yes.
about PlayStation saying something about they're stopping selling PS4 games in 2024. I think
Spoiler
something
for
like
next news
that.
story. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Yeah, I
But
saw that. I
yeah,
saw that.
it's kind of insane, honestly. Like, I'm glad it's happening sooner rather than later. I mean, it seems soon, but for some reason, the last year has just gone by so quick that I still feel like I'm in 2021 a lot of the time. I'm still getting used to the
Yeah,
fact that it's
totally.
so far ahead of time. Like, I feel like the last 3 years just went by so quick. I feel like I'm still living in the past,
Absolutely. Same here.
Kind of
Jay, the
insane.
next story is to do with Cyberpunk 2077 expansion. Now, I haven't read the article because it sort of says, like, if you don't want to know anything about
Yeah,
it,
I
because I
wouldn't. I put
don't,
it there
I haven't
specifically
played the
just for
game.
the headline, really, more than anything else. It was
Yeah.
just for me to
So,
talk about.
sorry, just quickly, Jay, does it come, do you know who, like, found it out or something? Do you know what I mean? Who,
No
like,
idea.
reported on it? Okay,
No
well,
idea.
this one comes from Ryan Leston at IGN. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah, I think it's primarily just the fact that there's been like 3 or 4 leaks for Cyberpunk news over the last like 6, 7 months, but this one is specifically talking about how there's a possibility that the details of the next DLC. Essentially, that's just all it really is. I'm not going to go into specifics, but it's just sort of like laying out the plot for what could possibly be in quite a large DLC, in quotes, large. Just like extra missions, new outfits, probably armor and cars and stuff like that. All the good stuff. Stuff we kind of would expect from a DLC from a game like this. So.
Well, does it seemingly point to the sort of scale of their previous DLCs, like your Heartstone, is it Hearts of
You
Stone
know
or
what? I
Heartstone?
don't know, but I have a feeling that I mean, CD Projekt Red have put out like a statement in that sort of graph, didn't they, showing like what percentage of the company is like working towards different things. So like part of the company is working on the next Witcher thing, some of the company's working on a percentage of the company's working on Cyberpunk DLC and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I think it was quite a small part of the company that was still working on Cyberpunk, but I think it's potentially got larger recently or something like that. So I don't know. They're clearly ramping up towards something, but we don't really know what yet. I think there's been
Sure.
an update for Cyberpunk recently as well, so I'm sure they're hot fixing it still as they go
Right.
on. As they go on.
Right. Next up, Jay, we've got. I mean, I've just read the article, but seemingly pretty much confirming Death Stranding 2's in production from a
Yeah,
Twitter leak. I say leak from a
I mean,
tweet
yeah.
from Norman
Norman
Reedus.
Reedus basically just said, "Yeah, we're working on Death Stranding 2," and then Hideo kind of had a go at him, being like, go to your room type thing, like a parent would, to be like, you shouldn't be saying shit. I mean, we kind of knew it was happening because I remember right after Death Stranding 1 came out, probably about 3 or 4 months, Hideo put out a tweet of like drawings and like things strewn about over his desk, and one of them hinted towards like an enemy from a Death Stranding game that wasn't in Death Stranding. So it's kind of like people were like, "Oh, is this Death Stranding 2 already? Like he's working on something already?" So I think he's actually been working on this since even like the middle of Death Stranding 1. Honestly,
So you think it could come out sooner than you think,
no,
sort of
not
thing?
necessarily. I think he's probably had it in his head a lot longer than what people think.
It's so weird, Jay, because obviously, sort of looking at the story of Death Stranding, that does seem more of a self-contained story to me than anything else. I've got to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think if there's even a possibility for like some level of sequel. This might even be like a massive ruse to be like Hideo's doing Death Stranding 2, but in reality, it's just another game that's like Death Stranding, but is nothing to do with Death Stranding.
That would make sense because like they're
Like
pretty
a bait and
tight. And
switch,
Norman, I doubt Norman Reedus would just like he's an actor. He signed NDAs. There's no way he's just going to be like, yeah, he knows like he's on The Walking Dead, right? He knows the importance of not giving away stuff.
Yeah,
Surely,
you'd think so, but he might have just like had one of those moments where he didn't realise that certain info wasn't out there and just maybe got excited. I don't
right,
know. It's hard to
right.
say. But I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up necessarily. I'm just sort of like in the usual place that me and you kind of tend to be now, where it's like, yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're not going to really think about it too much because if we think about it, we're going to get too hyped up, and all the
Yeah,
hype is going to leave our brains before the game even comes out. So there's no point in doing that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that,
totally.
but I'm not going to think about it until probably like months before it comes out, until it's like almost confirmed at that point,
Do
or
you
like
think they'll
fully
do a
confirmed.
similar marketing train as they did for the first one? So like we'll get a trailer, giving us the conception or the announcement of it, then we'll get another trailer the next year showing more,
I
then
hope
we'll get
so.
another
I'm
trailer
hoping it'll
showing
be
us
very
more.
mysterious and like an ARG type thing on Hideo's Twitter, where he's like giving out little Easter eggs and stuff. That'd be great. I think it was a
Sure.
pretty good marketing strategy before, even though it didn't really like necessarily help the sale of the game too much. I think it more than anything, it just sort of like almost gave him like brand. It was more like brand awareness. I feel like Hideo's sort of like on this campaign to be like, by the way, I'm a proper game developer and this is my brand type thing. Like Kojima Productions has like become more of a brand, and like much like how Bethesda is a brand,
Yeah,
Microsoft is
yeah,
a
yeah.
brand. Like he's sort of done a very clever style of marketing that just so happened to align with a game coming out.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
feel like it's just going to be more of that. Hopefully, just need to get the word out there that he exists. So I think Death Stranding still
And
sold pretty well.
yeah, no, it did. It sold millions of copies.
Yeah. So I
So
mean, something worked, obviously.
and yeah, Jay. Also, you were right. We do actually have another news story about The Witcher 4 entering pre-production from a CD Projekt Red blog post. So that obviously just
Yes.
ties into your previous what you were saying.
I've still got to play 3. I've still got to play it. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know when. Like now would be a perfect time because not really much going on. So I might have to just bite the bullet at some point.
Next up, Jay.
I also might just try and play it not with achievements in mind. Just play it to play it.
Yeah, I wouldn't also. I mean, I'm not being funny. I've got all the achievements, so it's definitely possible. It's not. It's definitely not an impossible achievement list by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, go in. Don't worry about that. Just play the game. The only reason I did that because I sort of looked at the achievements before I played it and was like, "There's no way. There's too many achievements, right?" But then obviously playing through, I was like, I kind of want to do this. But yeah, go in. Just see what you think about the game, Jay. See what you think about the game.
I mean, I've started playing it a number of times, so I don't know. We'll see. All right,
See.
what was next?
And what was next was Jay.
Yes.
Marvel games
Yes.
could have looked a bit differently. According to this comes from the phone. According to an excerpt from Stephen L. Kent's 2021 book, The Ultimate History of Video Games Volume 2, Xbox had passed on making a deal with Marvel, which left an open door for Sony. So an excerpt recently floated around on Reset Era, which had quotes from Vice President and Head of Marvel Games, Jay Ong. I assume that's how you say his name. I'm sorry if it's not. Activision and Marvel prematurely ended their Spider-Man game deal because neither party was satisfied with Activision's licensed games.
Yeah.
Activision then reportedly told Marvel, "Good luck finding your unicorn," which is hilarious because they just clearly had
With
no idea.
Insomniac.
Yeah, literally.
Insomniac
so long
was
story
their unicorn.
short, basically, they went to Xbox, and as far as I'm aware, Xbox basically said they were looking to more work on their current IP, and so then Sony sort of went in and were like, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it, sort of thing. Now, Jay, the reason I brought this up, by the way, you guys can obviously go look at the story because I'm paraphrasing, but the reason I brought this up because this is, I think, one, surprising considering the type of culture that Xbox is supposed to be fostering over there, in the sense of this is post Phil Spencer, this is post them working on probably what the first party lineup's going to be like, and they get an opportunity like that, and they think, yeah, we'll work on Perfect Dark instead. That really troubles me.
Yeah, me
Really
too.
troubles me.
That makes me think that there's someone over there who doesn't know what they're doing necessarily, or like someone who's just making like some really really rash decisions and not really thinking it through. Like, who the fuck cares about Perfect Dark? I mean, we spoke about this before. Like, who cares? Like, no one's gonna buy that shit.
But even like even other IPJ, right? You know what I mean? Like that. Like I think you've only got a handful of really original Xbox IP that hold a lot of stake, and that's probably because we either haven't seen the games in forever or it's Halo. So it just doesn't have as many as the Sony. But like to Marvel, it's like Marvel is the new Star Wars.
Yeah, and Star Wars is the new Star Wars.
Right.
Like, you know, there's like, I feel like, yeah, Sony just has a lot more going on right now, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway.
what would they have done with it though? Who would they have passed that on to?
Right.
You know? That's the question.
Yeah. Good shout.
Hard to say.
What would they have done? They've got so many developers now. You know, like
who would we want to see from Microsoft and Xbox take on a Marvel game, and what would it be like? You know, that's the thing. Like, I've got so many. I'd have a lot of hopes for what I'd hope a Marvel game is, but the problem is Marvel has too much. Okay, that's the wrong way to say it. Disney has too much involvement in what happens with Marvel. But obviously, Marvel being owned by Disney, they kind of have to. So I feel like whatever they make wouldn't be as the best possible version of what it could be, just because Disney has to fuck about with it so much. They sort of have to dictate what happens with Marvel games to sort of align with the movies, just so it can all fit together properly. I don't like that though. I'm not a fan of that. Just make a Marvel game based off of Marvel, not based off of what the movies have to dictate to around, or their particular agenda of what they have to get out into the world about morals and stuff. Not a fan of that.
No, totally.
Even though, funnily enough, I am wearing a Marvel shirt right now.
Boom. Love
Yes.
Love it. Next up, Jay. So it looks like Daybreak's Dimension Inc. studio, who made DC Universe Online, we're going to develop an MMO based in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we spoke about this a while ago.
According to Kotaku, the game has now been cancelled.
Yeah, so it was 6 months into production and they just cancelled it. Probably, like I say, the developer. We don't know the actual reason why, do we? Because I can speculate as to why it might be, but if we haven't, then not really much point in me speculating.
I think it was essentially, the game wasn't going to make the money back, as far as I understand it.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. So yeah, it could have been. It could have
been a bit more sad about this.
Well, I'm sort of like of two minds, because this seems to me almost like an Edgar Wright situation. In that Edgar Wright was originally going to do Iron Man, and then they had creative differences, and then didn't turn out how it wanted to. I reckon there was some level of that with this game, in that the Marvel or Disney didn't think this game would do well enough after seeing what they'd done. Or it might have even been like a Marvel Avengers problem, with that there wasn't any microtransactions in it, so what was the point if it wasn't going to make any money from that kind of thing. Like, it just feels very scummy nowadays. Like, Marvel just feels like it's all about money, Which, it's a business, so it kind of has to be. But when you dictate things like that, it tends to just crumble anyway,
Yeah, that's a weird one for me, because they've obviously worked with talented studios and stuff, right? Like Insomniac and Eidos Montreal to create the Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man. But yeah, like you say, with that emphasis on quality, you'd think they'd see the sort of the long-term road of what a Marvel MMO could look like, which, by the way, is definitely top 10 popular MMOs in the world.
This kind of worries me a little bit, just because Marvel Heroes was a thing before.
Yeah,
and it's my favorite game, and then they took it away.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have seen this new game and thought it was too much like that, and went, well, that didn't work before, so why would it work now?
Maybe.
That's my biggest worries, because I want Marvel Heroes to come back in some sort of capacity, but now I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think this was my last chance. It's never going to happen anymore. So.
I think ZeniMax did a really good job of seeing the long-term road for something like that with Elder Scrolls Online, where it came out, it was buggy and broke and small. And
it's
stuff.
Killing now.
And then
so many people play that game.
Working on it, just keep working on it, and then boom,
Still
boom,
going.
boom, boom, boom. And to be honest, Jay, the one thing I don't like about that game is basically we're seeing all of the Elder Scrolls locations before we see them in an Elder Scrolls game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a mainline one. But that's a side point. But yeah, it's I think it's all about the long term for MMOs, right? Final Fantasy 14, similar story. doesn't do well, revamp the whole game. So
Yeah, I don't
shame.
think
But
Disney can see the long road. They only see things in short term and money aspects, right? Like if it doesn't make money instantly, then what's the point? I think that's their sort of, which is weird because I think they're sort of like they've almost got that sort of like that way of thinking, almost like from movies. Like the movie gets made and it makes its money pretty much instantly, versus a game which kind of, especially an MMO, which would need at least a year to see any amount of like chance of what's possibly going, what the future's going to look like for the game. Because the game could have like hundreds of thousands of players, even millions of players in its first month, but that'll dwindle so quickly. Like people drop off of MMOs so quickly, it's insane. You just got to hope that by the end of the lifespan, or like by like 6 to 12 months after the game comes out, that it's still got at least 100. If it's got like 100,000 people still playing it, you're in the gold. Like you're definitely winning at that point.
right.
Even like 50,000 is still a good amount. So it just depends on how many people would be playing it. But yeah, I don't think Marvel or Disney has much of a much scope when it comes to that kind of thing, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost like we could have had the next best game, but they just chose to fuck it up. I mean, it could have also been a terrible game. I kind of wish they'd thought of that when it came to Marvel Avengers.
Totally.
Wasn't a great game.
Totally.
Yeah, a bit more foresight would be great.
Yeah, totally. And what sounds me about that conversation as well, Jay, is that obviously I know Marvel contributes heavily to culture, and Star Wars does to some degree as well. But because they're a business, and I can appreciate that, they are more interested, it seems, in making the high revenue rather than the cultural impact, really. That being said, I do think Avengers Infinity War and Endgame made a huge cultural impact and obviously grossed a lot of money. But at the same time, a lot of the things we're seeing with the TV and stuff, it does feel a bit less like, let's make an incredible TV show, and let's make a TV show that has 5 nods to past stuff and make sure we set up the next thing, and maybe not make new ground, basically.
I think they are making new ground. It's just the ground they're making tends to be not great. Well, not for me. Let's just say that it's ground for the next generation. It's not ground for me to stand on, unfortunately.
Last up, Jay.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Last up. I may have switched. No, I can't. The mic's in my face. The president of Sony's PlayStation business, SIE President Jim Ryan, had a business briefing, and basically this comes from Video Game Chronicles, but essentially he's talking about how PlayStation are looking to release more live service games. Fantastic. That was sarcasm, everyone. I don't want that. And also the fact that they're going to release more of their games on PC and mobile within their portfolio. Now, basically, obviously the games have been a great success on PC, etc. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, God of War. Yeah. Now, Jay, what is interesting to me about this is, first of all, I think we did a pod, Jay, when they sort of first started releasing these games on PC, and I'm pretty sure, I think it was Herman Holst, could be another executive, but I'm pretty sure there's a quote saying, this isn't just us testing the game to see whether it, does well on PC. There's something more to it than that. And we said, no, that is exactly what they're doing. And I think this proves what I think we've been saying all along, which is, yeah, they're just going to release games on PC. And why wouldn't they? It's going to make them money. That's why Xbox
hell of a lot, yeah.
And let's be honest, the only thing, PC doesn't matter. It's about console exclusivity. If you want to have that conversation, it's about console exclusivity. If you're on a PC, you're on a PC. So, if a core game comes to it, fantastic. If you decide to buy another console, then yeah, sure, you're probably going to buy PlayStation because of the exclusives. But that's the whole point, right? Now that both of them are on PC, you probably won't need to do that. As in, both console exclusive games will probably be on PC moving forward, or at least near the launch date. So, at the end of the day, really, when we talk about exclusivity and the impact that Xbox has to make and stuff, it's really only console, and we've probably meant that for the last 10 years. So I'm not surprised by this. Doesn't surprise me at all. That is what it is. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I agree, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think, weirdly, I'm looking at what you said about the mobile thing too. I think they're again, this is just all money, right? They're seeing it from the money business
Right,
aspect. Um,
right.
Mobile tends to make a hell of a lot of money too. It's weird. Like I feel like I'm kind of missing out from not being as much of a PC gamer as I'd like to be, just because it's so expensive. Um, and this just makes me feel worse. More than anything, it's kind of like, oh crap. Yeah, I mean, I guess the PC master race still exists,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
whatever. It's whatever.
In my personal experience, Jay, the PC ports over almost any other port, apart from Xbox One, maybe, are always the most broken. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I
They're
remember
just,
the Batman. Was it the Arkham Asylum one or one of the
Arkham Knight, I
Arkham Knight or
think.
something? I think
Yeah.
has been classed as the worst PC port in history. I think at this point.
Really?
Yeah, it was so bad. It was
Did they ever
abysmal.
fix that?
I don't think so. No, I think it's still broken. I think they might have even pulled it. I can't
Crikey.
remember. One thing I want to say
Crikey.
quickly about Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
I was looking up the FAQ a little while ago, and apparently it isn't. It's not set in the Batman Arkham Asylum universe. Did we ever speak about this? I can't even remember.
We did, yeah. So
Yeah,
when it first got released, I said to you, it's not in the Suicide Squad universe, and you were like, "Oh, okay, I didn't like. I'll check that out." And then we spoke about it a few weeks ago. I think it's not in the same universe, is it? Is that?
it's not in any specific universe. It's in its own one. Apparently, it's a
Yeah,
whole new
but that doesn't make
story.
any sense because it comes across as a complete follow-on from the end of Arkham Knight,
No, you'd think so, but
right?
apparently not. No, apparently it's its own thing.
Right,
So, which I'm kind of glad about. I kind of prefer games when they're all new story versus things that are continuations of others, because
right.
it sort of puts
So
pressure on
it.
you to have to go buy and play that previous thing. Not a fan of that. Don't like it.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. But you played them all anyway, though, haven't you?
Yeah, but even so,
Fair
I,
enough.
I know I know that I'm not a fan of that, so I wouldn't want other people to experience that also. Like, imagine a new
Sure.
game that comes along and is like, oh crap, I got to go buy these bloody like 4 or 5 games first. Not necessarily that you have to, it's just that it would help.
Encouraged.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that on a business standpoint, a company would probably want to do that, which is probably why they tend to make a lot more sequels than we'd like. But yeah, I'm kind of glad that they're sort of doing the opposite of that in this instance.
For Arkham Knight, by the way, Jay, did you find that the game was almost too big in the sense of, because like I keep getting the impression there was just too much to do in that game for the whole completion, basically. I don't know what your
No,
thoughts are.
I played them
No.
all. They're great. I didn't have any issue.
Did you complete all of them to max, sort of thing?
It's a good question. I don't think so. I
Ah,
got close. Like I put as much time as I could into all of them. So
okay.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. That's definitely
Yeah.
one of those things. Like all those that whole game series, I'd love to be able to play those games for the first time again. It's probably
Yeah, sure,
some of the most exciting times I've had with games. Just those Batman
sure.
games were just insanely good. Why don't we
What's your
have? Do we
favorite?
have a? I mean, the only Marvel one we have of that is the Spider-Man game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There isn't anything else. Why don't if Microsoft had made or if Xbox had made a Marvel game, it should have been something like that. It should have been another Batman stroke Marvel thing, but with a different character. I'm trying to think who would it be good. Green Lantern would be great. That's obviously DC. Who
Yeah.
in Marvel? Where would they? I mean,
Well, it's just got. You just basically mean like another open world game, essentially.
yeah, but with what character?
I don't even know who
I
would
feel like
make
you'd
it.
have to do some sort of ensemble thing now, wouldn't you? Just because of how
But then
Marvel is.
I feel like it's just got a bad taste now because of the Avengers, really.
Maybe they should do an X-Men game. That'd be sick.
Yeah, who would make it though?
Hmm.
I don't
I'd have
know.
to look up Xbox developers. Like who trying to think like who is actually under the umbrella of Microsoft.
Well, I was thinking Playground Games, but we haven't actually seen Fable yet, so I don't know.
I feel like it would have to be someone who has done something maybe somewhat similar.
By the way, Jay, just quickly on that, while you look it up and stuff, surely we're seeing Fable in a couple of weeks, right? Surely.
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
I mean,
I
it's
mean, we have to see something at some point. Yeah, you would hope
if
so.
we don't see anything, either they're not telling us until a few months before it comes out, or it's in trouble. Simple as.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I mean, it's E3 season, if you want to call it that. So it's game showing off season. So I'm
They
sure
announced it back
there'll
in
be a bunch of stuff.
2020. July 2020 is when they revealed it.
Oh, okay.
And we've seen nothing. We've seen nothing.
I mean, it could be years. I don't know. Hard to say.
Oh man.
Tell you what,
So
id Software or
depressing.
Arcane Studios would be pretty good.
Oh yeah, great shouts, Jay. Great shouts.
id Software have always been very innovative with their graphics, so that'd be fun to see. But Arcane have a very specific, like, they have quite a cartoony aspect to them already, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So there we go.
No, that's a good shout.
Tangent.
All right, Jay. Now we're getting towards the end of the show. Please take us back to the homepage.
Okay.
Before we do Guess Who's Review, the quote for this week for you guys all to reflect on. I love God.
Wow, did you seriously just like do like the bloody Austin Powers thing?
I was thinking schmuck and a pancake.
Schmuck and a pancake?
No.
Pipe and a schmuck?
Pipe and a glebe?
Pipe and a crepe?
No.
That's it, yeah.
Cigar and a waffle? By the way, Jay, the fact that Mike Myers didn't make that TV show based on that small reference is really, really cool. That is just cool.
Well, I don't know if it's just from that, but that's definitely like that's like 85% of it.
No, it's cool.
I've been watching quite a few interviews with him recently. Actually, he speaks about it a lot, so it's quite fun.
Oh yeah, you've been watching the Vogue stuff where he rewatches his characters and stuff. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he actually. I don't know if this is on purpose, but he's done a very good job of keeping us all intrigued because of the lack of what he's done recently. I think like it's like he's Mike Myers is out with something new, so that's exciting because we don't get a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yes, Jay. So we're actually in the final stages of the show, and we've got Guess Who's Review. So for those who don't know, me and Jay pick a random game review, and we've basically got to guess the game based on 3 quotes. The sooner you get it, the more points you get. This is a nice little game we like to play every now and then, and I believe we're pretty close still.
Well, we're neck and neck at the minute.
On the doors.
34 to 34.
So it's very important, guys. I pull another Viva Pinata out the bag. That's all I'll say.
Bastard. I honestly think this is probably one of the hardest ones I've done. So we'll see how we go.
Have I played it? I'm not trying to spoil. I'm just trying to gauge whether.
I don't know for a fact, but I would hope that you at least know what I'm on about. But I've definitely played this game. I won't say much more because it'll give too much away.
Understood.
I know I've played at least one of these, so we'll see.
Okay.
All right, you ready? I've got to try and think. What's the best one to do first?
Have you played Microsoft Flight Simulator, by the way?
I actually have. Yeah, pretty fun.
Is it? It's good.
Well, I mean, it's good if you're if you're a pilot. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
Because you'll actually know how to fly the plane.
Oh, okay.
Because it genuinely is like an actual simulator for like pilots, basically. It's like that in depth. It's kind of insane. Okay. Right, are you ready? Oh, you mentioned that because they've done like a Top Gun Maverick thing recently for it, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure whether I should include the name of the character, so I'll just leave it up for now, and then I might introduce it later. I don't know.
Okay. So don't do characters because I'll probably spoil it, right?
Maybe we'll see.
Okay.
So I'll say blank for either the character name or the actual name of the game. Okay.
Fine.
Blank has more moves available to him than your typical ninja and mastery over every single one of them, with a notable exception of the Van Damme split jump. Now, if you know what this game is, or you have any sort of inkling, you'll know what it is from straight away from that. That's either you know it or you don't type quote. It's very specific, extremely niche.
So you play as a ninja.
Blank has more moves available to him than your typical ninja and mastery over every single one of them, with the notable exception of the Van Damme split jump.
See, I don't know whether they're saying that, but it doesn't actually confirm that he's a ninja.
No, it doesn't, so I wouldn't harp on that too much.
Yeah, but there's a specific move, clearly.
Yeah,
Here.
you've seen the Van Damme split jump.
Have I seen the Van Damme split jump?
Yeah. Like, imagine doing the
Is it where
splits
you
in the
jump, it just
air,
yeah.
and like either one of your legs up against a surface, so you're in the
Oh,
air,
right, okay.
whether it be a wall or in Van Damme's instance, two trucks moving along at the same time. Oh, you must have seen that trailer.
Wow. Jay, I have a game,
Yeah, if you
right? And
say it, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I've got
I'm gonna
no
be so pissed.
justification.
I'm gonna be
I've got
so
no
pissed. Don't
justification.
you
I've
fucking
never
dare.
played it.
You
This is
bastard.
literally just
You
coming
bastard.
out the.
I did say it's very specific.
This is coming out completely out the vaults. I have no. You're
I'm
gonna be like,
I'm
oh, I
gonna be
remember
so
that game.
pissed.
Like,
I'm gonna be
you're
so
not gonna
pissed.
know.
You
Like,
do this to me all the time. You get it straight away, and then I've got to wean my way back, and I've got to struggle. I've got to struggle for like weeks to get even close to where you are, and then you just go and you get it on the first bloody one. Please get it wrong. Please get it wrong.
I'm just gonna quickly check the name, Jay, because I can't actually. I just want to
Well-
double check that I'm getting the name right there.
Oh, maybe you don't know it then. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know why
mean,
you'd have to just check the name on this. It's very specific of a name. I'm gonna be so
Yeah, okay.
pissed. I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think this is right, Jay. Because is this Stranglehold?
Oh no! Thank God.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell's
okay.
Stranglehold? That sounds familiar.
Right. So this is the 360 like kung fu game. I'll show you
Okay.
the cover.
I might have seen
You-
this.
I think you played it.
Maybe. I don't
Remember
know. It
that?
sounds.
Remember that? Can you
Oh
see that?
fuck! Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the. What's the name of the actor?
John Woo.
There we go. Yeah. Wasn't there a movie he did to do with that game as well? Or am I
Or
completely wrong?
Was it a video?
I'm pretty sure he's the actor who's in Bulletproof, right? The movie Bulletproof.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. Man, that's a good movie. Jesus, I'm unlocking some memories right now. Wow. Okay, so that was an interesting guess. Are you ready for the second quote?
I told you.
I'm glad that
Yeah,
that
go
was
on.
very out of the vault. Like, oh, that's in my vault somewhere too.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
You also have to worry about plenty of pesky cameras in blank. Listening for their distinct beeping as you move into new areas can mean the difference between success and failure.
I'm in trouble here, guys.
Good. I told you this is a difficult one.
So
I actually kind of wish you had got it on the first one now. Because I always feel guilty when it takes this long.
no, it's fine. So you obviously have a character. You've got fighting moves or navigation moves to some degree. Sounds like you're in a stealthy environment. You've got cameras trying to find you.
They make a noise, distinct beeping noise. Now, see, you might be thinking this is really obvious, but it's very not obvious. I mean, it is, and it's weird because
I remember Van Damme jump in that game. Now I remember it.
Okay.
But there's a lot of games in that.
There is.
fucking
I didn't
franchise.
make it that. I didn't make it that. Dude. Just say the name and I'll give it to you.
Okay, I have a guess because I remember that a game has Van Damme.
I think I know. It is Splinter Cell. Well done. Technically, the original one, which is just called Splinter Cell, so it's fine. Came out in 2002.
Wow.
But I played that game a lot. On original Xbox, yeah.
Nice.
It's a good game.
You play any others?
I might have played one or two in like the later era of the original Xbox, and maybe one on 360.
Fair.
But yeah. So you got that on the second one, so there's 2 points.
Yeah.
Decent.
What was the last quote, Joe?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. The key to blank success is that every single element of the game, including the story, graphics, sound, and minor detail in between, is designed to focus your attention on the gameplay theme of espionage. So it's just more sort of playing into the whole stealthy thing.
Very good quotes, Jay. Very fair. Not too hard, not too easy.
Yeah, it was sort of like I'd say medium hard on that one.
No, I think
I wanted to do the Van Damme thing first because either you'd get it or you wouldn't, basically. So I was like, if he doesn't get it, then that's at least going to help him.
Yeah, no, I think it's fortunate I didn't remember that because if I did, I definitely would have got it.
Yeah.
But now that you talked about cameras,
yeah, exactly,
sort of Spy, Splinter Cell, and then I was like, oh no, he definitely used to do that because we had one of them.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that move. Yeah, for sure.
I was trying to think like if I'd mentioned night vision goggles, you probably would have got it instantly.
Oh, instantly.
Or like green as like a thing, or
Green Giant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very good, Jay.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I wanted to do something that was a bit unconventional. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Something that wasn't too obvious, but it's got more of a deep cut than anything else.
Yeah, Jay, I gotta say, Jay, the older I get, don't get me wrong, I think the 360 stuff is phenomenal, but there's a lot to say about the Xbox exclusive lineup, original Xbox,
Oh, what, like your Splinter Cells and your Halo and your
Fable,
Fable?
Chronicles of
Yeah, it was a good
Riddick.
time.
There's just a lot. There's a lot.
It was a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind
Great
of hard
stuff.
to look at. It doesn't really hold up that well
Sure, sure.
though.
I
A
get
bit
that.
harsh on
All
the
right,
eyes.
Jay Balls.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out of here. Got some stuff to do. I'm sure you've got some stuff to watch. Anything
People
else
to
you want to say before we
see.
leave the people?
I'm just hoping that, because weirdly, if we do manage to do the podcast on a Thursday next week,
Yeah.
that'll be the same day that Diablo comes out,
Okay.
and it'll also be the same day as the State of Play. But I have a feeling the State of Play won't be till the
Oh.
afternoon, so we can either delay the podcast until Saturday and talk about it then, or we can just wait until the next week. So I don't know. Because we're going to have to talk about the other State of Play stuff from the week after anyway, but that's not until like June 9th and 10th. So it'd be on
What, there's two
basically.
State of Plays.
No, I mean like
The other stuff going on.
yeah, the other announcement things. One of them's on June 10th, which is the day after the next Thursday.
How much do you want to play Diablo Immortal the day it comes out? I guess.
Oh, I'm not fussed about that. I don't really care about
Okay.
that. I'll play it as much as I need
I
to.
think if the State of Plays in the afternoon, probs try and record Thursday evening then. I think. Oh, do you mean afternoon America time?
I don't know. I have to actually. Let me just check my YouTube really quick because I have it saved.
Yeah, I think if it comes out
watch
before
later,
the recording, then maybe we'll just do it.
it says 2nd of June at 11 p.m. So it's not until almost midnight.
Oh yeah.
So technically, it's actually the 3rd of June.
Yeah, no, you're right. We should delay it because I reckon that'll be a pretty meaty State of Play.
I mean, if it isn't, then it'll be a waste. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see near the time. Because the thing is, the Xbox announcement thing is on the 10th of June, which is the day after, the week after, from 2nd of June. So we have to delay the next week as well if we want to talk about the Xbox one.
We should. I've got some catching up to do, so some episodes to publish. So yeah, no, we should. Let's just delay because like everyone's going to be busy looking at all the stuff anyway.
Sure.
I'm not bothered about getting out, things ASAP. And besides, if we do delay, we can record as soon as everything's wrapped up, and we can just talk about everything, and just have a big old special sort of type episode.
Yeah, June's going to be a good month for us about chatting about games. So.
Yeah.
Lot to look forward to.
Lot to discuss, Jay. Wow, I feel like we haven't had. I know we have the video game awards and stuff, but I feel like we haven't had a big video game Esperanza in forever.
Sure.
Like when's the last time we had 10, 20 new games to talk about? Very exciting.
About a year ago.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
All right. Then.
All right, bro. Right. We're gonna hit it out. Go see the Pentavlet. And yeah, we'll catch you all whenever we do.
All right. Peace.
After the big news. Bye.